Alright guys, I may have solved my problem. If you look at the way the coils were on here before, I took a picture of it. This one here with these on was over here. I think they were both going the same way. Now if you look it up in the parts book, this one's actually, I could probably put this up here like that. This one is actually pictured on the right side. Let me look here once. Yeah, this is for a GXV 610, like just a general engine. If you look at, see this one, the way you're looking at it right now, this one's on the right, that one's on the left. If you click on it, that one is the right, so that one's the right, that's the left. So it must mean when you're sitting on the seat. Let's look it up for the actual 4118. This is just HondaLawnParts.com. So number 3. So same thing. The one with the extra bendy thing is over here, and then the one that doesn't have it is over here. But according to this one isn't oriented right. But you can't put that one on the other way. The spark plug wire won't reach. So I couldn't find a picture online of how they actually are. Nobody's got this model lawnmower. But on here, number 1 is the one with the extra bendy thing here. And that is right side. And 3 is left side. Which should mean, I believe it means when you're sitting on the seat. So when I put these on originally, I think I had this one the other way. And everything I've seen, Terrell's got a video of a GXV 610 and the wires go out like this. And that makes a difference. And maybe that's what these lines are for, or these little dots. I'm not sure. But it might have solved my problem. Let's see one second. It's not an amazing idler, but I want to take it out and warm it up a little bit. So I'll have to put the cowling back on for that and go from there. The weird thing with this model is if you look up the 610 specs of that GXV 610, the spark plug ranges are so different. I think there's like 3 different spark plug models for these, but I went with what the 4118 calls for. So maybe that's why they want this on here. It's because it's got to go around like this. I don't know. Hopefully this is right. I'm going to give it a try. I ordered a shop manual for it, so I'll verify it when I get that, but it's probably going to be a week before I get that. All right, I'm going to put the cowling back on. I'll put this back on here. This little air cleaner. And then if I actually get this thing solved, I'm going to have to find an air cleaner for it so I can run this guy. I know this isn't the best thing, but it's something anyway. Those coils being flip-flopped can change your timing. I know there was a guy in a forum on the Yamaha that I have over there. He was saying that those coils that they used, that I put on that one, they ran okay, but he realized he had one flipped. And this one's got a left and a right, and the Yamaha does not. The Yamaha's got They're both the same part number on this one. So you have coil on each side, but the same part one. So I think I screwed that up, and we'll see if this fixes it. And if it does, then I can get an oil change and stuff, and I'll try to locate air cleaner stuff. So yeah, I'll put the coloring back on here. Alright guys, I don't have a clue if it's gonna run right, but let's see. What's up with that? I think the throttle needs to be adjusted. It seems like it's not opening up all the way. What the hell? What in the name of hell? Why won't it start back up? That's weird, huh? It's not even warm yet. Probably the muffler is probably warm. What a turd it is, huh? I don't fuel, I don't think. It's got some, not a lot. Alright, I got it back in here on a one cylinder. For some reason this one ain't sparking, I don't know. If I try the spark plug that sparks over there and here, it doesn't. So something, that's weird. I should try it again once. I'll let it run a little bit. I gotta get my stuff out there though. Alright guys, so here's what I did. So this one didn't have spark, this one was over here. It was actually, I turned it the other way. It appears that these want to be on the top. You know, like instead of here or here, or here or here. it makes sense why this one is longer. So if you try to put this one over here, the shorter wire, this orientation, it won't reach. If you put it this way, it'll be upside down, it won't have spark. So it makes sense why this one is here. It's a longer distance from here to here than it is from here to here. You see how far it's gotta go? Just like that, and then way over like this. So they both have good spark right now, but you don't run good. Runs the same way. So I don't know. I'll wait till I get my service manual, I guess. But right now I'm gonna do a compression test on it. Let's see if it changed. So let's see here. Get to the key. Not knock all my stuff down. Yeah, I can't hold all this stuff. I'll show you when it's done turning here. So we got 105, which I believe is higher than when I tested it before. So maybe the rings are seating a little bit. Maybe they're just kind of stuck. That's why I figured if I ran it for a while, it would help. If the rings are kind of sticking. So 105. Let's check the other side. All right, now we'll do this one. $105. So those are consistent. So that means that they're probably about, I think it was like 85 to 115 was the range on this. So that's actually not bad. I would say that's probably not the rings. I'm gonna get some new spark plugs and I'm gonna throw 2 new spark plugs in and see what it does. 'Cause I don't know. Otherwise I gotta walk away from this for a while if that doesn't work, because I don't know. I'm stumped. No, I believe this is a oil pressure light, because it goes out when it starts. Meaning it builds pressure, and I think this thing is right here for it. And I think on the generators, it might be an oil level sensor. They might have changed it to an oil pressure on this one. For the lawnmower, I'm not sure. But I guess those can go bad, especially on the level ones.
One eternity later.
Alright guys, I think I've finally figured out what was wrong with this 4118. I want to just tell you what I did to diagnose, and this is the most challenging thing I've ever run into as far as engines go, or small engines. I didn't want to show real time because they would be 3 hours long. I like to definitely more comfortable doing stuff off camera. Okay, so, well, for one thing, last night I was looking at this. It's like, well, I gotta let me check the fuel line and put pressure on it and see if there's any leaks in there, or especially in the tank. If it's got a crack or something and it's sucking air, that's gonna, you know, put air bubbles in the fuel or whatever and just affect it. So this actually goes in here. I've got a plug in there. This fitting right here goes in there. You can't get this fitting anymore. I was gonna order a new one. So I might have to RTV it in, because it's kind of eating up around here. It's like gooey, like tar. Maybe that's like the sealer. And then the tube for it is Where? Here. This was inside the tank. So I was gonna grab it and then get it up close to the end so I could put pressure on it. But it just broke right away. It's just brittle. So it's probably a good thing that I found that. And you can't get that either. But I'm just gonna make that end work, and then I'm gonna put just a regular fuel line on that going into the bottom of the tank through here. But I'm gonna clean all this up and I'll let the floorboards off. But I hooked this makeshift fuel tank on here and it didn't change anything. This is one of those things where it's just like, ugh, how is it possible that every single thing I try doesn't work? And I'm like, well, maybe the carb is just bad because I just ordered a new one, but the only one I found, I think it was on maybe boats.net. They have a lot of Honda parts for some reason. Like maybe they run these in boats, I don't know. But well, even lawnmower stuff they got. I don't know why. I can't find the exact part number of this carb. Most of the ones I see have a fuel line that comes out instead of going up like this, which is what I need. It comes out this way for probably like the other GXV 610. So it's not like I can just get a carb for it, and that one I think was like $300. And I'm not gonna take a $300 gamble. I really don't wanna. With the fuel line in the wrong place, I'd have to get it down here somehow and see if there's enough room. Maybe it comes out the front. I don't know. I have to look at it again. So then I'm like, I kind of sit on it for a day, think about it. So right now I just replaced all the gaskets. The manifold gaskets are these. They're actually metal. But I wanted to make sure, no, they're actually, I don't know what they are. No, they're not metal. They're like a hard Teflon type thing. I did spray starting fluid or carb cleaner around some of this stuff already up here, but you can't get in here by this one very good, so I didn't really do that one. So anyway, tonight I put new gasket here on this side manifold, that side of the manifold. I just use gasket material. I don't know if I need something that can take more heat. I don't know. It's not exhaust, so I don't know. We'll see. And then behind this black part, I put a gasket, and then behind the carbon, that black part, I just cut them. Then I noticed that these hoses right here, I tried blowing it in with my mouth, and both of them were plugged. This one's a drain. This one's either a float overflow, or it's an atmospheric one that puts air into it as the fuel goes down, or lets it do its thing. And they're both plugged. I tried blowing on them, so then I put the air on it, air compressor, and poof, some came shooting out, both of them. So then I started it and I took that right off and it wasn't changing. So I got my makeshift gas tank on here. And then it still was running like crap, so I took my little air filter off here, this grease rag. You can see it's getting crappier. And then it just started running better. So let's see what it'll run like now. It'll probably run like crap now that I got the camera on, but let's see. It's like, oh my God, did I finally figure it out? I think so. I don't know exactly which one of those things that I did made it fixed. Obviously, this had something to do with it. When I took it off, it started running better, but Anyway, so where do I go from here? Because I can't get the air box because it's no longer available, I'm just gonna come up with a one that I can just clamp on, like maybe a neck here with a. Maybe I'll use like a radiator hose and just put a filter here, some sort of filter.
3 weeks later.
All right, guys. A couple weeks have gone by. I've been really busy with other stuff, so I have to get the back end back together, and I have to figure out the air cleaner. I may have found some sources for the air cleaner. There's a few websites that don't necessarily show that the parts aren't in stock, but they don't give a way to order it online, so I'd have to probably call them and see if they have them. But the cover, the cleaner, the box, and the hold down screw and stuff like that, it adds up to like $200. So yeah, maybe later in the future I'll maybe see about it. But so I went to the hardware store, actually Menards, and I was looking at what can I do for this thing. Well, I went to Napa and I wanted to see if they had a radiator hose that had like a 180 in it, or at least a 90. It would kind of go like this. So we know the grease rag does not filter enough. You can't get, it's too small of a surface. So then the flexible hose, it was too long and not the right size. So then I was at Menards and I thought, well, I had this piece with me. This copper line or copper tubing is 1.25 inches, and where it expands here, it expands to accept like normal plumbing the other end. So it's just a little bit bigger than this. I think I'm gonna wrap like electrical tape around here, and that'll tighten it right up. And then I stole this filter off of that Honda Arrow 125 or whatever it is. I think it's an Arrow. This is the filter it had. Look at how the filter fits on here. It fits on here perfectly. So I think I'll run this, put a hose clamp on here. I'll probably solder this. And look how it fits. I can tuck it right in here. And the cover will be here. So the cover goes about right here. Yeah, I can just swing it in like that. Now to mount it here, it wouldn't work to put a hose clamp on this because it doesn't collapse. I could put slots in it, but then I have a potential air leak, right? So I'm thinking I might use this radiator hose, which is actually the size that the tractor uses. Or I'll just duct tape it. But I think that'll work, at least for now. One thing that might happen with this is the original air cleaner, I believe, sucks here. Therefore, it has intake air going in through the air box, through the flywheel fan. And this is not going to have that, so it might get heat here. That might affect how it runs after a while, I don't know. But I'm hoping this is temporary, so. Okay, I'm going to attempt at being a plumber here. Might have to loosen my belt so you can get the plumber butt crack going. No, I'm just kidding. Nobody wants to see that. So I'm certainly no expert at this, but I know a little bit about it. So I did a few things in my house. I just know you gotta get the copper clean, and then you want to flux it. This stuff is a few years old now, so who knows how good it is anymore. But for what I'm doing, I'm not doing a freaking water line that's got to be up to code. Right? I got that one done and this one done. I know that if you don't wipe the solder off right away, it'll turn green. I don't know if it's from moisture or what. I have no idea why it does. So I marked this approximately where I want it. Why did it get so tight now? I think you want to put the solder on the opposite side of the heat, I believe. I'm going to turn you over here because, I don't know, right-handed will work better on the solder, I think. Boy, am I not good at this. Wow. I think I got it warm. Sure wasn't taking that solder at first. Probably just because it's so much bigger than a normal one. You know, here's like a normal size. A 1/2 inch. Alright, I blew a lot of the back end off here with the air and cleaned it with rag and stuff. This is a lot cleaner tank. That just falls right on. The Tough Torque 151490 is got enough oil, which is good. It's good to see it's not leaking out. That just sits like that. It's not gonna work in the fuel line. So now I gotta get the line back in. All right, this is some line I got from the store too. This is polyethylene tubing. I thought about using that, but I don't know if gas is gonna eat that. Here's the original tube that was on here. That went in here. And that was here where it sucks from. So I was gonna cut this the same length, because if you put just a regular fuel tubing, you see how flexible it is. Is it gonna curl over time and just kind of curl up and then not suck anything? I don't know. I made it a little bit longer than the original. Just a hair. And I put a taper in the bottom, so hopefully it can't get in the bottom and just seal itself. So I'm not sure. I was thinking about just dropping this in gas, but it might take a while to eat through it. It does fit good. But I'm going to try this fuel line, because that I know is going to be resistant to fuel. Alright, I'm going to use the Durco I've been using on the projects. Now, I cut this gasket out of inner tube, and this has been sitting around for probably a couple months. And it is still good to use. Just like I sealed it up. Not the day I sealed it up. So I'm going to throw this on there. Put some weight on there, I think. Alright, I wrapped this a few wraps in electrical tape. It actually didn't take much. That's a pretty tight fit already. Yeah, I'm really not going to get a radiator hose on here, because it's already hitting this. And granted, this goes in, this is as far out as it goes, but still, to get a hose clamp around there too, not gonna happen. I think I'm just gonna put duct tape around here, but that should hold. I don't see why not. I put a hose clamp on here. All right, guys, I got the back end put back together, and you know, the seat and everything. You know, the seat's only these two like wing nuts here, and then comes right off. I got this done. I just put duct tape on it. Won't be able to see it, but she's tucked away in here pretty good. I just did a test run on it and on a little bit of grass. Worked pretty good. I want to do a test run before I put the hood on. So now I'll put the hood on and then show you guys how it runs. The grass is a little bit wet yet, a little too damp yet, so needs a little time to dry yet. So I'll throw the hood on. The hood's pretty straightforward on this model. Just slide it on here. Right there. And I gotta throw a pin in there, and then it'll stay. I should see if the lights work on it. I don't even know if they do. Let's see, all right, let's take a look. I think the connection's not the best, I guess. I probably should clean it, but hey, they work. I think this will be a pretty good mower. I'll wait a little bit for the grass to dry out more, and then I'll take you along with me. All right, guys, a few hours have gone by. Let's rock and roll. I think I left the gas on, I think. Yep. This model is like just like the John Deere LX series, where it turns shorter to the left than the right, so you can hug this side. And I'll show you with that campfire there. Okay, here's all the way to the right, right here. The other way, All right, so this is gonna conclude part 2 of this. It seems to be working fine. A little bit of rattling that I heard was this, because I put my foot on it and it would stop. This and all that. The pin and the keeper and everything. It worked pretty good. I like it. It's not going to put a lot of acres down, especially, you know, I'm used to a 0 turn now with a 54-inch deck, and now you're gonna get used to a rider again when you go back to a rider. But it was being pushed. I purposely did a spot that was overgrown. Should have been cut at least a week ago, so you can see all the grass it put down. It did a pretty good job. You know, if it was cut at a reasonable time, it would be not so much. The chute kind of, you know, makes it a windrow, but I tried a little bit with it up and it scatters it more, but right here is where that was. But it's still going to be there, so I just left it there. Right up here it was really thick, so the engine it wasn't dying down, but you can tell it was working, so that's good for it though. Let it work. The grass was bunching up in front of the deck, and then all of a sudden it would get a big clump go through. So that's gonna end this video, part 2, and then it'll be end of series, and then I'm gonna do probably one more. It won't be like a part 3, it'll just be separate, and that's gonna be doing an oil change on it. And I'm gonna talk a little bit about the different models, because the service manual has some interesting stuff in it. So check that out. Coming soon. Do you like small engine projects? Taking a non-runner and bringing it back to life? Do you like seeing and hearing the more rare stuff like Yamaha and Honda riding mowers? Do you like everything small engines? If so, you can show me support by hitting that thumbs up or thumbs down if you didn't like it. Leave a comment, consider subscribing, it's free. YouTube will notify you when I release a new video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.